good evening and welcome to all panelists. I think we can still shift over here. And all of us are in between the tea and the session, but still we'll try to make it interesting. Session is going to be about technology we have talked, also how to manage the challenges we have talked. The session today, which we are trying to concentrate and understand across industry. So we have bank, we have insurance with us, and in that, what the new millennial customer, which little bit the mention happened by Amol in his speech, and what exactly are the expectations and everything. So let me start with you, Amol, because SBI again, being the largest, as you said, with many countries, you forming for that. What sort of changes which you saw or rather ongoing? You mentioned in your speech, but still probably, you being the largest between, the Gen Y and also Gen X for that matter, because these are the two generations probably we say that, they are the millennial customers and earlier customers also, because the largest branch network is with SBI, and the kind of one-on-one touch which earlier customers used to have, and now this new customer. First of all, do you have the kind of percentage bifurcation in SBI of the two customers, and then how you guys are managing both of them? Because one is that it is internet savvy, then they are online real time and everything, and the other customers are anyway the traditional one. So just want to know that, from the millennium, what sort of the changes which you are seeing between the two of them?
Yeah. People who essentially are not the millennial ones, correct, or the ones who were banking with State Bank of India historically, for them the product recommendation, it essentially comes from the branch. So for them, the source of truth or the contact point always happens to be the branch manager or the BC agent standing outside the branch. So they have a one-on-one, they have faith in the person, and they trust the person giving them suggestions. Cut that to the current situation right now. The current generation right now is completely following the so-called social influencers. So it's pretty much important for a bank who's designing a new age app or a new age way of selling products. They have to have a social influencer strategy also ready with them, because these are the guys who recommend products. These are the guys who will be bringing in new customers onto the bank. So this is one big dramatic and a drastic change which you see between the people who have been banking earlier and the new age generation that is there.
If I ask the same question, probably to you, Byju, what is exactly your experience happening and the changes happening, and what the two of them differ in what sense?
So while we, as we innovate on the onboarding side of the customer, what I felt, and maybe millennials actually really feels, how do you handle their grievance and complaints? It is pathetically managed because there are system disconnections, process disconnection, or misfailures, I call it as. So I think that's an area where actually really, things has to be done. Okay. And the second area is basically very important is the personalized services, because even if somebody calls me or calls my contact center, still they ask you, who are you? This is a basic problem. In spite of, if it doesn't come through a digital channel, that's the biggest experience issues happening, and that has been given us a feedback every forum, everywhere. So these are the areas actually we are focusing, how do we change them, especially being in insurance and being in life insurance.
Correct.
We are grappling with a lot of issues because every distributor brings some kind of complexities in their, with onboarding customers. So that's the reason, I feel complaints and grievances handling, as well as this part, how do I personalize and understand when customer calls, and solve the problems as quickly as possible. These three things, they demand it for the same day solution, not for even putting it on next day. My regulator tells me you can solve everything in 8 days.
Okay.
Those not acceptable today. As a company, we need to provide that solution same day or at least very next day.
Yeah.
This is the minimum expectations.
So, I think, on similar lines, Kirti, I think, insurance and particularly Kotak has seen for years now, at least, what is that, they are looking from an insurance perspective. First of all, I think, the insurance concept-wise for them probably is an importance for them, because they have the nature of spending and also having different kind of their priorities, and if at all they are, then what sort of Kotak or you see what the change between them and their behavior as such?
Yeah, you made a very important point, right? None of us wake up in the morning and say we want to buy insurance and we'll go and start looking for insurance, especially life insurance. Having said that, I think there are some positive things that happened during the pandemic. I think the importance of life and importance of life insurance did increase. We are seeing that people are being aware and want to buy insurance, okay? Now, you asked a question about what is the difference in the expectations of the earlier customers and the millennials or the Gen Zs, right? So first thing, before I go there, large part of life insurance is still sold by somebody, right? It could be an agent or it could be banker, right? Very small percentage of life insurance is bought by the customers directly coming to our website, but there is a need there, right? So that's the challenge that we have to face. Now, those customers who are coming to our website to buy, they want similar experience like they would get not only from a bank, but from an Amazon or a Flipkart or anybody, right? So what do they want? They want to have options, right? Because today's generation, they want to have options, they want to choose, right? They want to have very simple, small size sachet products, right? And insurance products are complex. So how do we actually make them simple? And the third is, of course, the quick journey, right? If you take a term product and if you say my journey finishes in 15 minutes, but it's going to take 8 days for a medical to happen, then we have lost the customer. So that's the challenge, Online sell, but the process is not really completely online, especially for term. The earlier customers, they are okay, like Amol said, okay to come to a branch for servicing. But the sales process, though it is assisted, Sanjay, that is completely digital.
Okay.
Right? And before the pandemic, the part that our agent was doing was digital, but the customer would still give forms, right? Form le lo, aap jo karna hai, wo karo. But now that process is digital, right? So the customer is actually intertwined in the process.
Right.
And the millennials, they want, again, the same experience. And the challenge there is that an agent who's not a millennial is trying to sell to a millennial using a digital
That's
tool.
a wonderful challenge.
So that is really a challenge that we are trying to overcome.
Deepak, your views?
I was just thinking what views to give.
Oh, yeah.
And whether the audience, I can add any point that audience doesn't know already, but I'll still make an attempt.
Yeah.
Number one, irrespective of the age, right? The expectations have already gone up.
Correct.
We want, all of us, whether it is the millennial, the Gen Z, Alpha, whatever, right? We want hassle-free working. We want instant gratification, and we want to-the-point tasks, right? We get hassled when somebody tries to unnecessarily upsell something when I want to do a particular transaction and get out of it. When I want to, let me give you a personal example, and this is not just me, a couple of friends have also done that. Bank 1 gave a home loan, better interest rate, but doesn't have an online option of making prepayments.
Right.
Bank 2 does it. I literally moved from Bank 1 to Bank 2 at a higher interest rate, just for the convenience of it being done on my fingertips.
So they are looking for choices. That is what you are looking for.
They are looking for choices. They are looking for convenience. They are looking for hassle-free experience. And they don't want you to make them work. They don't want you to make them come to the branch for anything. If they want to come to the branch, it's their wish. But don't make them come to your branch. Don't make them do work. They just want to get the things done when they want it get done at that particular point in time and completely finished without deviating too much.
Understood. Yeah. So I think, I mean, the journeys have changed. If we put it in one term, that journey expectations have changed. I mean, from what earlier used to be, where in person probably was a journey, and here it is complete virtual, and they want it self-assisted most of the time. Correct?
At your fingertips.
Yeah. So coming back to you, Amol, I think, I mean, what importantly then, after knowing that these changes are happening, and I think, I mean, the entire expectations are changing every now and then. Okay, what all the differently the organization is doing to address this expectation? I mean, how do you keep a track of what to come next, and how to serve them rather? And probably, from, you did mention about, all of us, we are from technology. So probably if you can add that also, that what you prepare, or rather, I mean, because business is going to come with new idea, and you want to roll it out very quickly because it is needed by the end customer, and particularly banking. I think, I mean, with the open kind of a culture happening and marketplaces demanding banking everywhere, these particular customers, they have a different behavior pattern also. So what exactly, preparations are done by your organization to take and match the expectation?
Okay. So one key aspect of the new generation is that and this is the feedback which we have received as part of all the studies that have been done, is that the user also wants to be part of the product journey.
Okay.
They essentially want to contribute, they essentially want to be heard, they want to see their suggestions getting manifested in the next iteration of the product that's coming. So this is one important behavior that we have seen as a trend. So all our user stories, whatever we used to have, where a product would get ideated and then it will get tested and then it will get deployed, the feedback loop now also includes taking feedback from the actual users.
Okay.
Right? Let it be CUG or let it be a survey being done.
Right.
But the target is essentially the millennials. We ask them that what more do you want? And this becomes part of my product development story right now. So it is no longer the historical way, like you do a research, I mean, you outsource it to someone, take the feedback and develop the product. This doesn't happen. Now, this level of involvement is helping us to say that, okay, if I have got a feedback from the millennials, which is equal to, say, implement this particular feature, I have a higher propensity of that product getting used by them also. So this is one change which has been done as part of the entire product development cycle is concerned.
Okay.
But from a technology perspective, what we have done is that we have started thinking not just in terms of product development, but develop a product with hooks being placed everywhere such that there can be a timely intervention. Like earlier it used to be that you do a batch run and the next day you get an email or an SMS saying that this product looks good for you. But now with the kind of data coming in, like you are in mall X where a certain event is happening and you should be given this particular offer, which means that in that life cycle it is no longer an end of day process, but an event happening in real time at that point in time.
Correct.
So you have to design a product right at the start saying that there can be an intervention at this point in time in the flow of the journey. Ensure that alert is generated over here. So from a technology standpoint, it is now more API driven, it is more event driven.
Event driven.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is more, personalized. So these are the changes that are happening on these two aspects.
No, very good point. I think what you made is that I think it's a lifestyle which probably requires to be matched by the back end, the way in which, I mean, it is served. Dipak, do you see that, as far as the insurance products are concerned, they are complex, and probably, the patience for this millennium is not that, sorry to say that, but they want something very quick, and I mean, as Kirti also mentioned that, it takes actually a time. Do you think any new ideas like gamification or anything can make some attractive, proposition for them?
See, I don't know whether gamification will work or something, because when you play games, it's a totally different mindset,
Yep.
right, than buying a financial services product.
Right.
I'll bring another angle to this. We work with different types of customers,
Correct.
right? So right from government, where you're, for example, crop insurance,
Yep.
to your property and energy and the commercial lines, which is all B2B, where majority of the decision makers are not millennials, right? Then when we come to retail, like for example, motor, health,
Yeah.
and various other retail products, and especially the extended warranty ones, the travel product, and where we touch the millennials is basically, for example, you want to have a camera insurance, or a gadget insurance, or maybe a trip insurance, or a bite-sized, small, usage-based stuff. So the need that we see coming through is the need for a lot of bite-sized, sachets, small, at the point, to the point products,
Okay.
which are easy to buy. Don't ask them to fill a form, don't ask them to do anything. When you're buying a camera, just attach a insurance, that's fine. And getting the claim also needs to be as friendly as it is buying, right? A lot of companies, we all end up, being sales focused. But the real moment of truth is the claim.
Right.
If you do not, get your act on the claim side better, the word of mouth, right, will go very fast.
Okay.
This is a social media generation, right? And then suddenly the peer reviews have gone, and your sales will get hit.
Correct.
So I would say servicing and claims is as important as sale. All of it has to be hassle-free, instant. And like the keyword is this only. It has to be hassle-free, it has to be instant and to the point,
Right.
right? At all these.
So general insurance is probably far more different from the life as such.
It is.
Correct?
It is.
And therefore, I mean, you are saying that there probably the choices, the responses, and also the claim probably makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of
Otherwise, I mean, you are getting tweeted, you are getting on social media, they write.
It's just easy to drop that idea of wanting to have the insurance cover.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
When you walk into, let's say, Chroma, and you buy a TV, and they say, do you want an extended warranty? I mean, the chances are you can say yes or no, equal chances.
Correct.
Right? If it is hassle-free and it hits you at that moment, say, okay, fine. But if you ask, okay, can I fill a form? Second thought comes in, you say no. The sale is gone.
Your experience, Byju, on this particular aspect of what exactly that you need to prepare for them?
Honestly, very less on the product innovation, because it's all long-term product, profitability, pricing, and everything is very actuarial driven today. Though regulator is trying to give us a lot of options to club it, combine it, and offer it on a personal basis or need basis.
Okay.
But I think it's still a push product, very, very push product and distributor driven. And unless there is a pull, from the millennials, which we don't see the attractions, we can't too much personalize or build product on the fly.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's very, very difficult one. But we are focusing more on how do I reach them to whatever customer onboarded, make servicing completely different, so that they stick with us, stay with us based on the product they sold. So that's the focus area.
On a different aspect, Kirti, I just want you to comment upon their awareness toward data security, threats, risk, and even the legal rights. Where do you see the millennials or the customers are placed right now? Are they very cautious about this, or they take things for granted? What exactly from the insurance perspective point of view, or are there any cases which you have seen people complaining about any of this kind of things?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Sanjay. If I could just add to what Byju said. See, we have to have a product factory. While we can't really innovate too much, but because the regulation has opened up, and like I said, the customers do want differentiated, simpler products. So we are also looking at building an insurance product factory within, and we are changing our technology to handle that. The other thing is to reach out to the millennials. We have realized that we have to tie up with ecosystem partners who are selling to or engaging with the millennials. For example, Goki. We have tied up recently with Goki, and if you're a Goki customer, you have an option to buy either a Kotak Life Insurance or a Kotak General Insurance. So that's the change that we are making on the business side. On the technology side, I think, I have to add this. Amol did mention a couple of things. I think he mentioned architecture. I'm also mentioning two things here. I mean, I never thought that I would have my own UI UX team, right?
Correct.
Internalized.
Correct.
But that is absolutely important, so that we have invested in that. And the engineering practice, right? Because we need to make changes fast, right?
Correct.
And without a robust engineering practice, it has not been possible, would not be possible for us to implement those changes, which I did not do earlier.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to your question about awareness about sharing of data and the risks around it. I think by and large, they are aware of the risks. But they will not hesitate to share the data if there is something that they are going to get in return. Okay. So we don't see that hesitation. If you give me something, and that everybody does, right? For a voucher or something on Google Pay, Paytm, people are willing to do a lot of things. But they expect, I mean, when they're working or buying something from a particular brand, they expect the brand to take care of the data. Okay. So for them, earlier the trust in the brand was perhaps the experience of the brand that somebody else had, right? For example, if there was an insurance, right, and was the claim paid, or if I'm taking a loan, I mean, trust in the brand like an SBI or a Kotak, right? But I think today the trust in the brand is also comes from the trust in the digital solution, okay? If they see that a digital solution is not available, I mean, the trust goes. For them, the brand is technology.
Right.
Okay? So if there is a case, they read about a case somewhere, data is leaked, I think the trust will go down.
Okay.
That is how I look at it. And I think we are regulated, but I think more than the regulator, our internal compliance is very, very strong, and we really, really take care of customer data, because not only do we have the PII and the financials, but we also carry the medical data, right, of the customers.
Correct. Amol, I just want to know from banking perspective point of view. I think, I mean, this particular, what Kirti mentioned is absolutely correct. That they, if the convenience comes first, then probably, they don't pay that attention to the data sharing and all. And that is what is probably, sometimes, I mean, the trust is there on a brand.
Yes.
But still, it is, if I say so, that I mean, they take it for granted.
Yes.
Yeah. If I use that word, what exactly is your approach towards this kind of customers when they are on your site or on your website? How do you, because you have the customer data, you have the age, knowing that I mean the operating customer is at what. Do you try and tell this kind of cautions to them? One is the general caution, don't share your password, don't attend to that and all. These guys are in hurry, okay? And in hurry, sometimes, I mean, they make some mistake, but they, so be it, kind of an approach. So is SBI thinking that, I mean, for these kind of customers, a separate kind of a focus from, the privatization or data secrecy, or for that matter, legal rights, anything of that sort?
So I'll touch upon the point of gamification. So gamification for the banking industry is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Okay. So on one side, that if you gamify a product, the tendency of the product getting accepted is higher.
Correct.
But if you gamify a serious product like banking or insurance, you are already running a risk of doing something which is totally wrong, right? It is like not telling the person what exactly they are entering into. Like, I mean, how can you gamify a life insurance product?
Correct.
It's your life, correct? how can you gamify the fact that you are going to invest in a mutual fund? You have to tell the person these are the risks attached, but the moment you start putting the risks in the front, you are automatically raising the barrier for the person to walk away from it.
Correct.
So it's a very fine line. We do not differentiate between the age of a person and the product that is being sold. There are regulations in place, and then we want to also ensure uniformity.
Right.
What we do as part of the age of the person and the life cycle the person is in terms of the risk exposure. So a person who has a good banking history with us, if he is 40 years old, will get a higher loan or a higher personal loan with a lower interest rate. And a person who's 40 years old, who has a less banking history or has a slightly grayish banking history, will get a less personal loan, and maybe the interest rate will be high, the recovery periods will be higher. So from a product issuance or a recovery perspective, the method changes, but as far as the alerts are concerned, as far as the checks are concerned, that does not change at all. That is uniform for every customer.
Okay. So Dipak, I think when, again a little different from a general insurance perspective point of view, this particular generation is actually, if you go to US or Western countries, they actually want to protect many things which they buy, or for that matter, India is yet not there offering them that kind of choices and all. But do you think that, I mean, that probably if you change the strategy and if you try and bring it, though insurance is a little complex product, will that attract the millennial much better, but at a cheaper cost?
Yeah, so I'll put it this way. There's an attitude says, I don't care till I'm impacted.
Right.
Or I know that I will get impacted.
Okay.
Okay. When that happens, then there is definitely the need to protect and safeguard yourself, right? So that is human, and there's an opportunity for us in that. Having said that, when we are creating systems for the customer, we have to make it foolproof, like literally foolproof.
Correct.
Right? So the guy who's completely agnostic to security and doesn't really care, even for that person, we need to, bring our systems to a level where at least the base level security is done.
Okay.
Okay. And awareness campaigns, everything, all of that we have to do. That's the hygiene now in today's world. Having also said that, there are products which are coming in, like individual cyber insurance is there. There are NFTs now. There are, people are investing in NFTs and digital assets. They want to protect that because it's very easy to lose that.
Right.
There is the metaverse world is there, and within that there are assets which people are buying with real money.
Correct.
Right? Can you protect that? So those products are evolving. Even the reinsurers are trying to learn and bring out those actuarial models to figure out how do you price it. Now it's a very fine balance, right? If you price it too high, as insurers, if you do not know how to price it and you price it too high, it will not be sold. If you don't sell it, you don't have the critical volume to justify the insurance is like shared risk, sharing of the risk. And you need to have that base volume and the experience of, the risk having actually come on the ground and then paying for it and then figuring out whether it is worthy of doing that business or not. So there are products coming in. It will take some time.
Okay.
Everybody's learning, including the best of the insurance brains, because this is completely new.
Correct.
When it comes to metaverse, when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to cyber risks. Because cyber risk is almost like, if I have to put it like this, as a information security personnel, you are walking up a downward escalator. If you stop walking up or learning new, you will be thrown out.
Correct.
And newer risks are always coming in.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a continuous process.
Yeah.
Right? So
No, very well put, I think. I mean, in the interest of time, probably, I would like to have the views from all of you on the last point, that if some two, things which you want to consider, all of us rather, in our thinking, in our planning, in our technology, anything of that sort, from the millennial customer perspective point of view, what those two aspects or two things which comes to your mind, which probably all of us, including all thought leaders over here, should take consider in mind. I mean, since Mike is there with you, probably you can just, so that in 30-40 seconds.
I started with that. I would end with it.
Yeah.
Hassle-free instant gratification.
Wow. Byju, your views?
I would say personalize as much as possible.
Okay.
And commit to protect their personal identity.
Okay.
That could be the topmost priority.
Amol?
Feedback is critical, and obviously they will not really understand what they have signed up for, so it's important for the organization to keep protecting them.
The feedback and looping,
Yeah, the
also
feedback loop is
what
pretty
you had
much
mentioned.
important. Yes, yes.
Both aspects are very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I think you have to think like them. So listen to our children and listen to the young employees in the firm is what I would say.
Okay. So that probably ends the panel and the views of the panelists. I will throw for one or two questions if somebody has, then probably, otherwise we will end the panel over here. Any questions from anyone? Yep.
Most of the time when we buy insurance, it always seems like there's no trust from the vendor. So many forms, so many things. How do you think that technology can or data analytics can actually enable, and do you think it can do that sometime? Because most of the time when you're asked for so much of information, if you're selling insurance to a 20-year-old, 25-year-olds, generally their data says they are not that ill and things like that. But then you have to go to so much medicals and things like that people tend not to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're asking from a health or life insurance perspective?
I'm saying just from a trust perspective, that if there's an age group which generally is seem to be healthy, can there be products which can be even like, okay, up to so much of age group and so much of value you do the insurance?
There are. In fact, I've spent a decade plus in life and now general, so I'm answering that. The amount of STP, which we call straight through processing without medical, that we are doing today is not what it used to be earlier.
And is technology helping there, like data?
Completely on technology. So whether it is usage of automated underwriting or usage of AI ML, depending on the data which is there, right? Existing data, or like even government, the NDHM is coming through, where the National Digital Health Mission is coming through, EHR is coming, there is going to be a health vault. Once all of that comes in, all of that data will be available with a click of a button, not asking you too much, again hassle-free, and that can be used for underwriting. Underwriting is very important.
And what kind of infrastructure you guys will be building to manage that? Is there thought there?
So we already, I think many of us would have already done that, is to move towards microservices, move towards open gateway APIs, and I will show in the slides in interest.
Kirti, you want to add? Because I think, it is.
Yeah, so I'm saying, first of all, there are non-medical limits available in every product, right? And typically, for lower ages, the limits would be higher. That's one part. Two is, of course, there is STP, which is rule-based, right? That is also there. But the third thing, which is the medicals, right? And we are seeing that the requirement of medicals has gone up post-COVID. That is because the reinsurers are also demanding that. And we'll see that it'll ease out after a point in time, because because the kind of deaths that we have seen were not seen in the past. But a lot of technology changes have happened even in the medicals, right? There are options available today where you do video medicals, right? Where the doctor is sitting on the other side, so you don't have to go for a medical test. And what we have seen is that we get the data on a video, the journey is very seamless. And then when you're talking to a doctor, you end up telling more, okay? So there's a lot of transparency. So when there is a lot of transparency, we give you the correct product. So we are also assured that we are doing correct underwriting, and we are also giving you the right product, right? So a lot of things are happening. We are also looking at AI and ML to not only auto underwrite, but also see if technology can actually replace the medicals itself, right? Because by looking at a photo, which we do, right, we are doing a liveliness check for our annuity customers, which are the pension customers, right? I don't know how many of you have annuity policies. Every year you have to say that, hi, hey, I'm alive, right? We are using technology there. You don't have to do that. You just have to click a selfie and send it to us. The algorithm will check two things, whether it's you and whether you are alive. So a lot of things are happening.
No, I
Great.
think in the interest of time, probably I will stop here
So-
because, yeah, you want to say?
With that, before you conclude, one question for you.
For
You
me?
being, yes, I think the question is that, Mr. Narkar, thanks for navigating this very insightful conversation. You being the ex-CIO of IDFC FIRST Bank and a veteran of the BFSI industry, what are some of the policies you think you implemented, which is not a very long, I mean, possibly 2 years back, are still relevant and you think those practices still really make sense for this millennial customer? And maybe you would like to summarize this conversation here.
I think, I mean, yeah, from the summarizing and time up perspective, probably we can still have one-on-one. But in my rather, I mean, journey and particularly in IDFC FIRST Bank, what you asked, some of the things which we tried to do right from beginning is that, as I mean, I agree with Amol 100% that the feedback, which is far more important from the technology perspective point of view, what's happening, participating in business and marketing, meetings. And when they actually go to the regional level also, we used to actually send one person from technology to really understand what is coming. So that, I mean, we know that, I mean, at the product level and the development level, what those changes probably will come. Our forum was there internally, which is still there, where probably the views of the employees, those who are meeting customers, is put up over there for a discussion. And every month, probably a person, even from technology or even from business, used to get awarded for one good idea from product perspective or even from the technology perspective. Those are some of the things which we did. And in fact, I mean, for the millennial customers, it was a separate focus. Why? Because the banking which they do and they are going to do in their career probably is far more different the way in which, I mean, the traditional customers they do and all. And that probably was one of the thing which in IDFC FIRST Bank we adopted, and it is still helping the bank in revolving around technology, because technology comes later on, as he rightly said. That first what comes is that, I mean, you need to understand the need and then transform that into solution, and then probably the best technology underline for that. So my quick answer is that. And
Thank you so much, Mr. Narkar.